That's mine.
I love it.
That is cool.
Oh, that's sick fan art. It's gorgeous.
I saw it and I was like, I have to own it.
We're going here, yes?
Yeah.
I'm assuming? Okay, great.
Hi, guys.
How's your day going?
Good, how's yours?
Your dress is amazing.
Thank you so much.
You've gotten
Very princess.
So many compliments.
It's so good, and it's so
Right?
original, too.
Yeah, it's unique. Me too. Truly.
So what's the dynamic between your relations between Catra and Scorpius going to be like this season?
In season 4? Well, we kind of start out, and obviously Scorpio has been very loyal to Catra, very, dedicated. And season 4, we see her start to question Catra a little bit. Catra makes some pretty bold choices, specifically, obviously, leaving Entrapped on Beast Island. And Scorpio doesn't know how that makes her feel. It feels kind of weird. It's like, oh, but certainly that wasn't real. Certainly we're going to go back and get her. And when Catra says no, like that's not the case, it really kind of makes Scorpio have to think about that. So this season we definitely see Scorpio kind of going on an emotional journey and seeing where those things kind of sit with her long term.
And now we see Catra's kind of like the top cat in charge now, and like she's always wanted that validation, that sense of power. So how does this sort of like new manifestation of her really project into the world? Like how much more dangerous are we gonna have to see her?
I mean, it's probably going to get a lot more dangerous. I can't say much, and I don't want to speak too far into season 4, but she is kind of becoming the top dog, at the academy, and I really feel like she is putting herself in a power position on purpose. She wants the validation. She needs the attention, and she's going to do anything she can to get there. And I don't really blame her. I mean, she really hasn't had the proper upbringing. I mean, Shadow Weaver was kind of always the mother figure at the Horde, and she didn't really seek proper validation from her or ever get it. I mean, and so I really think that's been hard for her. And now that her best friend's gone, it's like, who could she turn to? She completely ignores Scorpia's advances, which is really sad because she's trying to be a friend.
Who could she turn to? I mean, who could she turn to? Giant claw lady, but
right there in front of her.
Right
but
there.
That's what she's going to ignore it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Catra got a redesign that we saw in the season 4 premiere. What was your reaction when you saw it?
She looks so cool. I think at some point we might see more of a redesign. I don't know if I can say that, but whatever. She's on her way to a full design. I love how they animate these characters. I'm such a fan of this show. Like the way it looks, the way it feels, the dialogue, the content, like through and through, every season is really strong. And it's been such a pleasure to watch. I love how these characters have kind of become their own, and they're becoming adults as we see them every year.
Yeah, true.
And Scorpia gets her own episode this season.
Yes, there's a big Scorpio episode coming, which I'm so excited for people to see. I can't say too much because it's all spoilers with this show.
I know, it's really
hard.
scary.
It's very hard because I'm like, what can I say? But we did see a preview during the panel today, so I feel like that is fair game for me to talk about. And you get to see, obviously, Scorpia's daily affirmations, what she goes through every morning when she gets up, which makes complete sense. I feel like, even though we've never seen her do this before,
I'm sure she does
makes
every day.
complete sense that she's done this every day since she was a small little scorpion woman. And you get to see it in image, because it's funny, earlier today I said to Noelle, I was like, when do we get to see baby Scorpia? But there is a moment in that where there's a little picture of her, and I was like, oh my gosh, my dreams came true. I didn't even know.
So precious.
But I think that there's something that's obviously fans have really adore Scorpia, and I think it's because of her complete positivity in the face of complete evil and destruction. And I think that's such a, like, in a nutshell kind of moment for her to get to see that pressing insecurities down, like those kinds of things, getting to see that other side of her, which again we all knew was there. I'm just excited. It's just the beginning. That episode is like epic. It's crazy.
Will you ever see her become a princess? We know she's kind of like one.
It's a great question. I mean, obviously, she was born into the Horde. That was like her complete existence, and therefore that made her very, loyal to Catra and loyal to that world. But this season I definitely think she has to take a look at that, because she's never really fully dealt with that. She just always felt like, she didn't fit in and she wasn't what a princess, typically is, and so she never really kind of thought about it. I feel like it was like, no, this is my family, this is my world, this is my universe, this is it. I don't need to think about that. So certainly as we see her go on this journey through this season and kind of start questioning who Catra is and is this an appropriate relationship for her, we get to see her definitely take a look at that as well.
we going to see Catra explore more with the Shadow Weaver this season, maybe?
I hope so. There's so much turmoil and damage that's been done between them, and I think it really breaks Catra's heart that Shadow Weaver is now back with Adora. It's kind of like Adora was always the favorite. Of course it ended up this way. Catra's heartbroken. She's like, I'm never going to get like a piece of Shadow Weaver's approval, and I really think we're due for that. I really hope it comes, because I think that relationship could use some beautiful mending. I mean, Catra has many loose ends to tie up, but that's one of them.
And now she has like this huge conflict with Glimmer. These two forces coming together. Like, what is it like getting to play with that dynamic of like Catra having like so much more blood on her hands than I think that she probably didn't ever realize she would.
No, that's kind of a perfect way to put it, is like the blood on her hands, she has no idea how to even wash off at this point. So she's almost just like, I just need to stay on the path of destruction, because at this point I don't know how to fix what I've done. So I think for her, it's like the more she makes these mistakes and causes this kind of damage, like Angela having to sacrifice herself, I think Catra's like, I am almost just going to continue what I'm doing because I don't know how to fix this. And I think that's actually like really authentic to what that kind of character would do. I mean, it's devastating, but I hope she fixes what she's done, because she's left a lot of people in her way hurt.
Noelle teased Double Trouble at the panel. Can you talk about how they joined the cast and like what they add to the dynamic of your characters, especially?
I don't know how much we can talk about Double Trouble yet,
It's
even
tough.
though that character, that name has been introduced. I don't know how much we can say, but they will work closely with Catra's character, and it'll be kind of an interesting dynamic between them. Bit of a sidekick,
Yeah.
I think, to Catra.
Definitely throwing some gas on the fire, I feel
For
like.
sure.
Yeah.
Which again, it's like Scorpio's like, well, what about me? I'm here. So
The whole time.
yeah,
The whole time.
The whole time. I'm just like, oh yeah, anyone else? Anyone want to hang? She's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
It is very sad. But again, I also think relatable. I often say, I feel like everybody has probably been a Scorpio at some point in their lives and had a Catra type in their lives, or it was somebody that you just, whether it was a friend or a romantic partner or whatever, there's always like that dynamic to me is just so relatable. Like really, really caring about somebody who really does not care back.
It's sad. I've
Sad.
had it.
I've had it.
It is really
I've had it
sad, and I
recently.
feel like it's played as comedy a
been a
lot in the
tough year.
show. How do you feel about that? How do they balance the comedy with the actual drama and sadness of it?
Well, I think it's all about balance, and I think that I think that some people underestimate how important it is to have pieces of both. I think in general in content, I feel like if something is like super, super heavy, people are like, I want a full drama. I'm like, I think you want a break sometimes. I think you need to have moments of lightness so that the darkness actually holds even more weight, and vice versa. If something's, super funny, it's nice to have those moments of heart and realism, because I don't think that life is ever a comedy or a tragedy. I think it's always somewhere in the middle, and so I think that's just realistic. And it's nice, again, this is a show that really does it well, though, really allows you to have those like laugh out loud hilarious moments, like in the episode we screened today during the panel. The beginning was hilarious, and then by the end you and I are both crying back there.
It's crazy.
Going like, wow, this thing has just addressed like loss and grief and what that looks like, and how difficult that can be for people, and how difficult it can be for friends trying so hard to support somebody but not really knowing how to support them and just trying to be present. I just thought there was like, we did a lot in a half-hour television there.
Yeah, that was a lot.
I mean, also addressing the coronation of like Glimmer, like she's coming up in the ranks but having to replace her mother, who is now gone. I mean, it's heartbreaking. But then you have characters like Entrapta, who's really, really funny, and Scorpia. So you have these like very uplifting moments throughout the show that I think interweave in a really authentic way.
Yeah.
Any kind of romance in the show, especially with your character. Any romance planned or anything?
I don't know. I've been curious about that myself. I hope so. I mean, I think Catra needs to figure out her friendships before she could ever even step foot into a romantic
That's her
relationship.
love
And I don't really know. Yeah, her love life is having to fix what she's destroyed. So she owes Glimmer everything, really, at this point, in my opinion.
Will we get to see more of Scorpia? Like, she is a horde leader. Like, will we get to see her more have to fill in? Because Catra is very good at, like, ordering things, not really follow through. And Scorpia is really good at the follow through. Will we get to see more of her trying to keep everything together as Catra is kind of, like, trying to take over more?
I think there's aspects of that, certainly. I think so hard to talk about this stuff, you guys, because it's like I could tell you right now, and then it would be over, and they'd be like, "What are you doing? You're telling them the whole plot of the show."
I can tell you right now.
I can tell you exactly. I can tell you right now. I can give you a firm answer, but like we keep doing it. These things, we're dancing around everything. For no spoilers, I think that's a very astute observation, and that is absolutely something that I think is on Scorpia's shoulders and has been. I think that the difference now, as opposed to before, is we're going to see her really kind of questioning everything and questioning, what does that mean? Does that mean anything? So I keep all of this stuff going here. Is this what I want to do? Do I want to be helping her? What do I feel?
Yeah.
And I don't think that
Scorpia
she's ever
wanna be
really
the henchman? It's like,
right.
no,
Is that who she thinks she is? I think that we get to see a lot of kind of like introspection and reflection on Scorpia's part. And it's not a straight line. It's not like she like makes a decision one day, one way or the other. We kind of see her kind of grapple with it throughout. And I think that's something that's been nice about the show from the beginning. Somebody touched on this earlier in something, and I thought it was really astute, is these characters don't have like, in one episode you go from A to B and it's over. It's like, these are long storylines that are very emotional and complex, and I think that is so realistic to real life. In real life, it's not a 22-minute sitcom where by the end everybody learns a lesson. In real life,
that's so
you know what
true.
I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
we're going on a journey, you know. I've been in toxic relationships that took me forever to get out of.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't think that everybody just like, by the end of the episode, everything's good. Everything's cleaned up and
Cue the
tied up in a
music.
bow.
Yeah,
Right. That's
exactly.
not something this show has ever done, and I think that that's something that people have responded to and really like. And I think also as actors, it's really given you something kind of meaty to deal with, because it's not just like trying to make 4 emotional turns in one episode. We're seeing these emotional turns go over the course of 14 episodes. You know.
Well said.
Thank you.
So we saw Scorpion meet a new friend, a certain robot friend.
That's right.
Are we going to see more relations towards that?
There will be that I think I can say we will see some more interaction between the two of them. Absolutely. People were so excited in the screening
People
today.
were stoked.
Loved it.
I
Loved
love
it.
Emily.
And I know Emily.
I love when you're feeding her the medal.
I know.
Like, I don't know what you eat.
I don't know what
There
you
go.
eat. I get this maybe. I think that's such a like cool thing for Scorpia too, because she's always taking care of others and taking care of somebody specifically. But this is kind of like the first time like having an animal, having a dog that gives you so much
reciprocates.
back. I think that she really that's kind of like a interesting part on this journey for her, is getting to have kind of that interaction.
So sweet.
With Emily. Yeah. Real cute.
So what are you most excited for fans to see in season 4?
Some badass fight scenes. I'm very excited for that. And Noelle did say that I could tease the fact that Glimmer and Catra are going to go head to head at some point, and it's going to be pretty dramatic.
I would hope so. It's so
mean,
bizarre if they did.
It'd be insane if they did.
It'd be insane. We have missed opportunities.
It'd be such a missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. I mean, I just keep saying
Kind of both queens of their own regime right now.
Oh yeah. For Scorpia, I just keep saying the Scorpia episode. Again, it's hard for me to tease very much about it, but I can just. It takes such a turn partway through that I don't think anybody saw coming, and I feel like fans are going to be like, we didn't know we wanted this, but now it's exactly what we've always wanted. Yeah,
That's perfect.
There's some fun stuff. There's some fun stuff.
Can you say where in the season it is? Beginning, middle, end?
This isn't me trying to be cagey.
Don't know.
Yeah, if you can say
Don't
that.
No, don't know.
Here's the thing. We're on other shows too. There's so many scripts in your head at any given moment that I'm like, I can't remember. I honestly don't know. Again, I'm not being cagey. I don't know.
No, I don't either.
But there's 13 episodes.
But
this
there's
season.
13 in it.
So
So
yeah,
there's
so it's
a
a lot more to say. It's somewhere between one. It's not in episode 1. That I remember.
Yeah.
We know that.
We just saw it.
We know that. And it's definitely not the cliffhanger. So it's somewhere in the middle.
Dang.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle.
Thank you so much for
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure, you guys.